3, 2, 1. 1. And so goes the blast off, those granted the permission to dream, leaving behind the rest to rot. I wonder if there is a God up there. Has his arms now only opened for the rich? 2. You climbed for money and good fortune, and now the atmosphere presses against you too tightly here. So you aspire for more while paying no taxes, and I can't blame you for that. I blame you instead for leaving the workers with brittle hands, blisters and bruised, eyelids chafed to to drown in their own sweat and blood, while pounding back the need to piss on themselves so they can pay the bills collector on time. 3. We who have the vaccine and the choice are not lucky, but privileged beyond belief, while the rest of the world gurgles and it's on its snot and tears, their inconsolable cries for their loved ones, while loved ones are burned, their bodies charred to stop the spread, until another variant comes along to wash away the efforts of those in hospitals, smocks, gowns, and latex gloves, who forego rest endlessly for work without sleep. Some of us are ungrateful as would be a party of spoiled 3-year-olds who've forgotten what it's like to feel real pain and loss when they receive a black pony instead of a white horse. Hi, everybody. My name is Goodwin, or also Nicole Goodwin. And this is Poetry Expo 24. As you can see, we are pretty early. It's not midday yet. It's in New York City, it's 10 a.m. And in Budapest, I believe it's 1600 hours right now. So hello to everybody across the world, and welcome to my poetry reading. I'll be reading from War Crimes, and my book, War Cries. And I'll have some interesting treats for you when it comes to reading my work. I'll also read from some new work in progress called Humans. So let's jump into Humans. 1 second. So basically, I'm a writer from New York City. I live in East New York. And I'm sorry, I lived in East Harlem, New York. And East New York is in Brooklyn. East Harlem is in Manhattan. So basically, we're sharing Humans right now. And Humans is a new work in progress of mine. So I would love to get your opinions on it. I will put my Instagram handle in the chat later to hear from you guys. But right now, let's jump into it. Dealer's Lament, inspired by the last Black man in San Francisco. I have had the audacity to be authorized to lie on the spot, to heap heaps of helpings that are vile, vicious, and vicariously positioned poisons into the youth's veins, devouring souls. No more. At this moment, my life has changed. Instead of allowing my gaze to wander, I will stare into the iris of the mirror and carve the sweet, tender liquid of love from the heart that was once petrified, swallowed, a sinking stone. This one is very near and dear to me. It's called About the Release Tape of Tyre Nichols' Death. About iPhones, they were never wrong. Steve Jobs, his vision, how it must have blurred when he heard the news from the grave, how the blood that dripped from the heads of the 5 black batons and the full-eyed view did not sparkle against the light of the moon, but instead faded into the concrete, black with a stick streamed scream, fell from on high into the night. Mama, mama, mama. Then the victim's last breath, a gurgling death rattle popped. A deflated red balloon against a sharp-minded tack. The air released from the pink flooded lungs, a shallow hiss against the invisible, gentle Memphis winds, swallowed, going unheard. The nothingness is giving way to tranquility, the origin, the before. The void is like a black hole sucking you in. Oh, 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 so slowly. A lot of these new poems are inspired by other works of art. A lot of these new poems are inspired by my connection to these other works of art. So I'm very excited to share them with you. Um, it means a great deal to me. It means a great deal to me to be a part of the expo and to share new work and to share old work. So now I'm gonna read from my eldest work, War Cries. Mongrels. We were apes gone mad, routines carved in, gouged out the soul, shells took their place, anticipation steroid us, started dragging our knuckles, men no longer men, women no longer women. I had heard the rumors. Alpha Company's first sergeant had an itch to kill. Couldn't get at the Iraqis soon enough, bringing the thunder in heavy, heavy. Wasn't first AD's job anymore, though. Mission accomplished. Invitation to the dance retrieved, regained, revoked, rescinded. Restructured from combat, now engagement peace party. Oh, how his palms must have sweated, how his trigger finger must have seethed on those long nights without fire, his rifle next to him, limp, cold. Didn't sit well to be an angel of mercy. I suppose he bore resent. Like the fox I had seen once, resembled anything but. Had a xylophone for ribs. Swift through our lampposts, on all desperate 4s, that night hunger made music. Same went for the Downy dogs, the rough howls of those he shot. First Sergeant, Alpha Company, following orders with uncompassed childlike glee. I closed breasted those rumors because of his eyes, covered in malevolence, brightened in his joy. There was a chilly northern skyscape. In them, a lasting sight you'd see of death, carnivorous starvation, the gargling of houndless voices, and his drooly grin. Beyond a doubt, the brightness lies within my soul. Love is tarnished. Eventually, I destroy the anchor that bonds us together. I cannot help that I'm a warrior. I cannot help that I'm a warrior. I cannot help that I'm a warrior. A lot of these poems came from my experience with war, both war crimes and war cries, that is. But humans is another endeavor entirely for me. Humans is dipping into my optimistic self, my self that is completely without pessimism, the realism of life, but also the hope that life can get better. So we can get back to humans. And nothing else matters. Inspired by Metallica. 1. Somewhere in my silence, there'll be no comfort. I take another sip of brew, courting my tears that follows memories. 2. Of you, my dreams have become whispers, bumps in the night. I dare not stalk, dare not confront. 3. We who are still thicker than the thickest blood, not even death can tear us away. Not even mortality can separate us. We who are righteous. Untitled, number 1. 1. My tolerance must be made up of a cruel fiction. My ability to smile in one's face as they say shit like you're too nice and no, that wasn't a compliment. How hateful is it to hate on one's ability to have chosen sweetness, softness, grace over currency? Money, cash, hoes is all we got for the queer Black youth these days, eh? Says the streets. And I wish those queens well. Well, I wish for those queens to have more than I had growing into my own skin. 2. Somewheres I am living underground and my tolerance is there too, boiling over, becoming lava, developing into the furnace of a cruel fiction. Affection is distant from wanting, and a broken house to me is no longer attractive. I dug my way out of the shelter of dirt and dust, reaching deep back into the rich soil and then planted myself again. and again and again until I knew I would flourish and grow into the good, gracious goddess I was meant to be. Untitled number 2, for Sinead O'Connor and all the years she lost for telling the truth. That must have been some hellfire ensconced and wrapped in your belly to shout against the grain that night. Saw no laughter. Get it? SNL. Lab box must have been on snooze. Shit, I mean, all of the Big Apple was furious. The others aghast. Truth be told, white men, they loathe you when your words really took it to church. Woke up the next morning, you found yourself surrounded, outflanked, unmanned, outmaneuvered. All friends needed, none in sight for miles. All just stood as the insults ripped through you like bullets aimed straight at your heart. This spectacle went on far too many lonely years. All we caught recently was the echo of your screams. Breaking bread. 1. These are the hours I dread the most. No one believes me when I say I know when the sun comes up. I can feel the chill in my bones till this day when one half of the world turns to sleep and the other rises. Its other self, a crescent moon, awakened and yet not. 2. The desert never sleeps, never ceases to whisper. Once it calls your name, it will never stop pulling you into its waters. A great womb that leaves you divided, your soul split from body like a hazel cat's eye. This, the beauty, lonely hell. I returned to its ugly, hungry belly daily. Its barren taste, a dashing salt kiss, is a parting gift left by the ghosts that are to mine. 3. These old hands that can crush my breasts, why are they so gentle? Why do they choose to caress me instead? 4. I only know of dawn as a remnant, a fracture, a haunting of stories lost in sand, inscribed across time and space. Love letters written in blood. 5. The long-standing savoring of honey to tender touch of dates fed into a hungry mouth. So young, too foolish to know that the best things in life are perishable, all the while possessing memories everlasting. This is my favorite from this collection. Casablanca. I thought this was the richest place for romance on earth. The idea of the Arabic sands against my skin made my hair stand up. the brisk African air caressing my breast. I cannot lie, it awakened the beast in me. Desire for a man, for entrance, for penetration into the soul's soul. The one which slumbered for so long that I forgot that I was a woman who once demanded things for herself and herself only, her own body alone. Oh, beauteous battlefields of quiet sand. And this is from War Cries, July 2003. Nothing worse than daylight under the constant shadow of wilted winged mosquitoes. Salt sweat sticking to our backs. Fevers made heavier with hushed sorrows, embroidering the plenitude in one thick husk. The fear of fear, unspoken, too commonplace. The silence, a background where my terrors rumbled, wrapping my hairs in a linen muzzle, finally stitched with a desert crease. The conflict is purgatory all around us. Midnight with the tear-shaped pillars. Old Arabia breeze blazes, its Vulcan ash attached to my neck. Mules pull apart our bodies. Heralds recount all tall tales, grotesque. Invisible tears caress my cheeks. Into the cold, dead womb I run. Into Iraq's black ocean I run. Soothing is the edge-lone night. The stars blanket the warring desert. I retreat to them in humble prayer. If this is the church, let me be lifted. Radio. They are suit-caked mannequins, bobbled dolls, heads moving out of control. If you pretend hard enough, it's like watching a bad action flick. Fear keeps me sturdy, though, in the now of the now. In the near distance, I study them, lips chapped, peeling in fervor of a good licking. Hands tied rickety in my throat, can do nothing but my duty. He is pinned, I say, over the radio. Break, response, report situation. I spy, I do, I report. I get the distance wrong. But I see, almost from above, binoculars startlingly clear, peering into the darkness. The black pistol in his hands, pointing ahead, the shadows, the beauty of his garment flowing, a summer thobe, pristine cloth draping the night, his tracks, soft marks, a gazelle's step, then gunfire, gunshots, pow, 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 whizzing back, forth, break, not our problem. Oh. Revelation. Justice is nothing but a word, a busted machine slothfully working itself into an early grave. I'm going to read another set of untitles from War Crimes. Untitled 1. And these days I do feel slightly under, yet I want to take this time to say, to feel, to write something happy. And this short while my daughter grows and the sun shines brighter, chasing away the cold. I am hopeful that both she and the spring and my very words shall outlive the twilight. Untitled 2. My childhood evoked great sadness in me, almost like a grave, a deep hole to cover in darkness, nothingness and empty silence. Why should I smile then? Carrying all those years upon my brow, a weight upon my head that till this day never ceases nor fades. I smile because of you and only you, dear child. You were a crack in the cycle, a hole in the world, a heartbeat next to mine that made happiness, shelter, warmth possible. And as I break away from this world, in due time, yours is a name etched upon my soul forever, ever, and ever beyond. In your eyes, I have been born, a child against the will of those who touched my skin, torched with indifference. I humbly thank you, little mother, forever and ever still, always. Like most poets, I tend to find muses outside of myself, and my daughter is a huge inspiration. So that was a poem about her, and this is another one. Uh this is another one that I dedicated to her. Shadows of September. 1. I left you alone, daughter, back when I draped green fatigues and blackened boots, wore a rifle for purpose and protection. The horse and pony shows, I wish I could say it was all honest work, defending red, white, and blue, but that was a grave mistake. When the killing started, when the gloves came off, I was just a little girl again who wanted nothing more than anything to come home. 2. It has been a few years, hours, minutes, seconds. I still haven't found the answers. Only empty questions. Your angelic face scarred no soul. Your infant hands held no malice. Your pristine feet treaded upon no nation. Out there, I wish I resembled you, child. Graciousness spewed from your lips as dribbles as you slept. Small reminders that there was a God. Innocent. You know, as we look upon a lot of the atrocities that are going on right now in the Ukraine, in the Congo, in Palestine, I am often remembered by many, by myself as well, as participating in combat theater in Iraq. And there is no difference when it comes to the suffering of people, when it comes to the suffering of families, when it comes to the suffering of children. There is only devastation. And I write my poems to bear witness to that, in order for people to remember these people, in order for me to remember these people, in order for these people to be remembered by anyone. And I just wanted to say that. Shall we continue? These days, since my daughter has tried to kill herself twice a week, I have let the social workers in. Twice a week, I have let the social workers in. Twice a week, I have let the social workers in. My life has become a bag of bullshit spun on routine just to save her life, and she is ungrateful to this sacrifice. I know it. I want to go back to the days when I wrote about flowers, but there are no flowers right now, even though this is a hot winter. I have no faith in these words. The war rages inside of me, and I am angry at other poets who lack their rage. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Nowhere else. It's all mine. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the beauty and the horror of it. Beryl. Not all things buried are dead. Not all things dead are buried. The half of you that outgrew the animal has grown back with fuller teeth. You bite down hard just for the comfort, for shelter. You taste my flesh against your pinkish tongue. Are you half cat, my dear? This I keep wondering. I can't put my finger on why, but you were born something wild. Even in a box, even in a cage, there is something about you closer to free. As maddening as poems can be, I find them very tranquil as well. So here is a tranquil one called Respect for the Dead. Respect for the dead. 1. They mourn 9/11 in the city again. Today I pass by the article forgetting to leer at the pictures of the attendants, the mourners. The morning was darkness, cloudy, belly fat, with expected rain, as if the pain was still too heavy for the city to carry on its own. Or is it rather the memory of pain when I bore my first only child? I remember that blood, the birth, the silence, but not the pain. And that is the crux of it. The memory of pain fades. All that is left is longing. 2. This was supposed to be a poem about 9/11, about death. I forgot the original words to the stanzas, though. My thoughts drifted. I fell asleep. I dreamt of the crystals in the soldiers' lungs, tubes clogged with titanium and iron, precious metals stealing the air right from the nostrils. No one mourns these men, these women, not yet. Please, not another thanks. I am too tired to remember why the war was fought, why we lost what we lost: time, limbs, air, space, sleep, and maneuver, and moreover rest. I almost feel that the nation mourns for the build alone, the collapse of the twins, but not those left in the desert or the mountains, not us, not when the lights go out and the day is done. No one truly thanks the janitor for cleaning up the day's mess. 3. One day my daughters will ask about 9/11, and I will say that it is when it truly all fell apart. The Ballad of Botham Jean and a Tatiana Jefferson. I don't want to say I get a kick, but I get a thrill out of writing about Black martyrs. There's so much to be said about bodies across the world, and I write about it, stimulated from home. And to remember these people, memory is a great deal a part of my process as a writer and a poet. The body remembers, the mind remembers, the body forgets, the mind forgets. And in between that, we're struggling whether we want to remember or we want to forget. So I write down the things that I want to remember. 1. There is an agony inside of me, boxed in and shuttered down, my eyes vacant yet full of tears, revolving around one word question. Why? 2. They were shot in their houses. 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 They were shot in their houses when they're in their own fucking abode. Nowhere is safe, not even home. Responses. Please do not speak to me of the greater good. Goodness is my half recollected dream. Its silvery hooks fish through charred memories. I depart them into swollen palms, once mighty, strong, surviving decay in one instant, falling to it the next. Clouded eyes beseeching understanding, and their own juices, confused brains swim. Slaughterhouse rules. 10 years collected upon the belts, fading the wool and emasculating the lambs. They beg, remorse over me fondly. Yet the children here are spoiled, either unlearned or gloried by warriors, hero worship. All fingers point, hands envigored, risen over air-fluffed chests, gestures, laughter, salutes. The soldiers pass, their lives shackled to legends. We're going to get back into reading, but before that, I just want to let you know that I have an Instagram, Goodwin. That's GOODW.Y.N. 9. Yes. And I hope to hear from you. We can just kick it, or we can talk about poetry, and we can see how far have you gone in poetry. I think poetry is universal, and it should be treated as such. And I try to write for the universal voice. That's why my new up and coming work, Humans, is so important to me. But we're going to get back to some old stuff with war crimes. And this is a poem called Dear Tony. I dedicated it to Toni Morrison. Dear Tony, for Toni Morrison. Is that the vagrant thing? We come away with your words, your works etched on our flesh, body, and bone. I can't remember the times I was touched, moved, removed from pain. Yet I kept screaming for us, to us, by us, to be heard. Like a hungry ghost, a dog with a slab of meat, ravenous to the core, I let myself go just to hear your voice in my ears. Cracked open the sky for me, Mama. I'm flying to you, flying home. Last two, and then we're going to depart. And I just wanted to say thank you for joining me. And write poetry, read poetry, share poetry. Visitors. 1. I am myself, low crawling through the dust, being engulfed by sanded fog. The drama of being lost underneath. The giant's foot of sky, blue sparks, reflected in blackened pools of soot, soothed my taste for the blood orange fires that storm and thunder within my mind. 2. My mind cradled a thunderstorm, bombs kabooming for hours on end, the sound like tires crossing over manned manholes, bridges cloak and cover droppings, claymores of opinions spilling overnight. Exiled children that came, exiled children that time forgave, then forgot, and me with my rifle in hand, going toe to toe with death, a dead breaker with my own exodus. 3. If I were to return to Iraq, I'd wish foes to welcome me with arms, not arms and blood, rusted, soiled hands, arms that once knew combatants, embraces riddled with the puzzlement, demise drenched dreams, drained showers, and July bring forth only here, independent of mercy. And this will be my last poem. Again, I wanted to say thank you for joining me. I am enamored for being here. This is a wonderful, wonderful expo, and it's universal and it's global, and it connects us in more ways than one. And I hope you all enjoy being a part of it. Fallacy. I tilt my head to the side, squint my eyes, slightly grin. I practice this until it becomes reflective. But today, for some reason, I am tired of lying. My sadness is not a pond or a lake or a river. It is an underground ocean. At times a geyser. It springs. So much heat. No matter what is there, it's neath me. Always. Knowing this brings intense sorrow. Stating this gives me hope. It is hefty, weighs on the heart, surviving. Love me as is. In time, I promise will carry. Thank you very much, everyone. And y'all have a wonderful day. This is Goodwin from New York City, signing off.